You know, when you figure out what you value and you understand who you are and what you came from, and then you have these values and you cut away from anything that takes away from these values, all of a sudden you start to create something solid. You get to the essence when you cut away anything that takes away from what's important to you. So this is also a clearing up of confusion, where if you don't feel like you know who you are, or if you feel like you don't really know who you belong with, like you kind of feeling lost in some way. This is about, what is it that makes you feel strong? What is it that gives you your personal power? How do you feel that sense of empowerment? How do you feel that I am, and I have survived, and I have prevailed, and now I am? Everything can be our strength. We can make everything a medicine. Nothing has to be a poison. All poison can make us stronger, So, just understanding what you value, and then, kind of removing anything that takes away from that, and really getting back to your roots, understanding yourself, but also, just even doing things that promote your sense of self-worth and your sense of self-confidence. Self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence are really important here. And what is it that you can do that promotes that? For me, I always tell people I love taking classes. I always feel when I'm a student, I feel it allows me some empowerment to grow and become strong again. So, you can always take classes, or, do, maybe even do support groups, or there's lots of things that you can do. Look up in, your local pages, what events are going on that might be of interest to you, and, get involved in some event that is, promotes your sense of self-worth, or your sense of excitement for yourself and your life. And, strengthen your sense of self here, so that you feel strong in your worth, and your confidence, and your esteem. And then start to cut away anything that takes away from what's most important to you. And then we move into projections. This is flower, and it has to do with psychic influence and projections. And people really influence us. Who you choose to hang out with, who you are around, who you listen to, who washes your brain. It really does. As much as we pretend like we can not listen to it or not let it affect us, it does. People influence us. So it's about seeing what people are projecting onto us, and knowing that is them. Use that as your reading screen to understand who these people are. And don't take it into yourself. And then you have your own projection, and that is your strength, and that's your power, where you can project onto others. But you got to be careful when you project onto others. I'm assuming, because everybody's watching this, that you're projecting positively on others, with your rose-colored glasses. Or maybe not. Maybe there's some issue you're projecting onto other people. But regardless, you gotta know who they are beyond your projection. Not everybody is the same. Everybody's different. So we feel like we can feel comfortable with ourselves if we think everybody's like us. Or we can feel comfortable with other people if everybody's like us. But that's just not true. When we project, we can make them feel similar, or we can make ourselves feel similar, but it doesn't actually change the actual situation. So, just be careful with your projections, and know that, you're influencing them. And also be careful with what is influencing you. But, besides the projections, we have this other card that is a really healthy card in relationships. It is the Two of Cups, but it's like really positive influence on each other, like a positive influence that lasts a lifetime, even if the relationship doesn't last, but just really positive, life-changing influences. So the story with Quinto is she always had this like autism to her, or she was always kind of freaking out about things all the time, and then she met Loki, and she totally changed, and she followed him everywhere, and she was so interested in him, and her whole character changed. And then unfortunately he became very violent, and I just couldn't have him around because I felt that he was a danger to people, and I had a very peaceful chicken farm, and I couldn't have a chicken attacking people all the time. And it was hilarious. We'd be like in the house, and he'd be like in the window looking for us to attack us. It was pretty funny. There were lots of jokes about Loki. But regardless, I had to give him away. It just sucked. But she never changed. She never went back to the way she was. She stayed in the same like happy state. And then she started hanging out with other chickens. So she just was permanently changed by this relationship. It just was nothing but good for her. So, and then we have the rune here of travel and changing of place and seeing a larger picture. And, I almost want to say going away to come home again. It's like being able to really see things clearly. I think that the biggest eye opener on your life is when you go out into the world and experience other things, and then you come back again. And the way you reflect on what you're living and the life that you have after you come back is like the incredible wisdom, the incredible light that gets shown on you. And you get to see what's really great and what's not so great. You really get to see, it's like a huge awakening. So I almost want to say that this is, it does have to do with travel and change of place, but I want to say it's like a returning or a somehow a healing of some sort, of an awakening of some sort on these projections. It's like when you get yourself out of a situation, that's when you can see it clearly. And then if you go back to the situation, you can see it even more clearly. Like, I mean, it's just two totally different levels. When you're just sitting in it, you get overwhelmed by these projections. You cannot see. You get so confused and turned around in these projections. And then, you remove yourself and you can reflect on it. And you really get this reflection. And then you go back to it and you're like, oh my gosh, I see it totally different now. I'm experiencing it totally different now. And you live it totally different after that. So in that sense, when I say change a place, it is about seeing from a larger perspective, but change a place where, if you go, I think I just returned to San Francisco after hadn't been there in maybe six years. And it just was such a different place. It's the same place, but it felt so different. A lot of my friends had moved. So many buildings have gone up. Just everything changed. It was not the same place anymore, even though it was, because it was a different time. So as time changes, time and space are tied together. So the actual space changes. What is there is different. What was there before is history. I mean, imagine what your area was like where you're living 1,000 years ago. You think it's the same? I mean, it's totally different, So there's going to be a change in your place, in the world around you, in your sense of home. It's going to be different soon. And there's this awakening and this moving out of a kind of a being lost or overwhelmed by projections, and having a really positive influence through some trip or some getaway or some new relationship that changes everything for you, changes perspective, changes feeling, and then really gives you that larger perspective when you return. So yeah, I mean, looking at this, you start out with receiving information, coming back, and then strengthening yourself, really healing, getting through this difficult stuff, and kind of hanging on to your core values, very important. And then there's this, again, this continuum of clearing up of these projections, or kind of unwinding or untangling from the people around you or the influences around you, and really coming to this sense of clarity, and coming into a much healthier state that will continue. It will endure. And then what is healing? We have birdie baby, which is birds have to do with omens. They have to do with a message from the spirit realm. Birds bring messages from the spirit realm, and so this is birdie baby, and it's about messages, getting information from the spirit realm, and also it has to do with the universe giving birth to something and informing you or guiding you, or even grooming you, preparing you. I always say, it's funny because people get stuck on this, like, oh, it's karma. Why is it happening to you? It's karma. And I always say, no, it's dharma. It's my work and service. This is how I'm learning so that I can do what I need to do in my future. You know, it's my education process. It's what it is, my asset. I'm collecting my assets right now. So it's all how you look at it. And I remember my girlfriend, we even talk about that with relationships. She'd say, you know, it must be a past life thing. And I'd always say, really? I always think that when I meet a guy and it doesn't work out, that he's preparing me for the next one, or he's preparing me for the guy I'm going to end up with. You know, it's like you get these lessons, or you get these pieces of understanding these experiences of growth and knowledge, so that you have that under your belt for when you do meet the person you're going to marry. You're ready. You know what to do. So it's about the universe giving you what you need and preparing you for something that you're going to be a part of, or something that's going to be born into this world that you're a part of. So birdie baby is something beyond the individual, but includes the individual. So if you look at any, major movement in time, any, major revolution or pivotal moment in time that changes the course of history, this is the concept of birdie baby. This is the concept of it was meant to happen, and the whole universe conspired together to make it happen. So there's a power beyond people that people can tap into, but it actually, it's beyond the people. The people are the players, but it's beyond the people, and it works out for the people. It organizes the people. It brings the right things at the right time, the right elements at the right time. It gives birth to something. Even our universe, the way the earth is situated to the sun, and the degree of it, and, everything about the earth that allows it to have life is a miracle. If it's, 2 degrees off this direction, or, 2 degrees off in the other direction, there's nothing. Nothing happens. No life. For life to have been born, for the spontaneous arising of the first cell, if the conditions were a little bit this way, a little bit more that chemical, a little bit more of this chemical, forget it. Nothing. Couldn't happen. But the universe is so precise in its birthing process. So that miracle of birth that the universe continues to play out over and over again is happening now, and you are a part of it. And then we have, so we have the 2 diamonds, and this is very earthy. So this is like things in the physical world really changing for you. And we have Amma, the Queen Mother, who provides for everybody, takes care, just that relief of like, oh, mom. But it's not just mom. It's like mom to everybody. It's like community mom. She's always a mother to a community. She heads an ashram, or she heads a village, and she is able to allocate resources, get resources, provide physically, provide spiritually, provide emotionally. So all of a sudden you have a safe place, and you have a place where you can heal and grow and feel good. And it's combined with Ansus, the rune of insight and communication, and getting messages. Again, it's kind of like I was talking about getting those messages with Birdie Baby, but getting vision and definition, having understanding the words and the names, the labels, the clear insight. And oh, poor chicken. That's the yes, and the young immature chicken is chasing Chai, which means yes. I gotta do something about that guy. I really love Chai. He's such a cute little chicken. But anyway, we'll get out to the live chicken oracle. But that's a little message for you. He's the young man, I call him, and he's immature. He's like a adolescent. And he's chasing the yes. The yes is like the positive, the affirmative, the go. And so there's some irritation. I just want to say there's some irritation on the positivity here. So, but just like with the oyster, you can't get the pearl without a little bit of irritation. So, but anyway, back to this here. We have communication, information, insight. Again, this information, insight, and this is healing. We're getting to the bottom of things. We're getting information. We're getting clarity. We're getting the details, the label. I think of when we do Zazen meditation, or the therapy around that. It's about, first you start out just observing, but then when you start to put labels on things, it puts you up on another level where you start to see. It starts to bring that wisdom in. You start to see what exactly things are and where they're coming from. So there's this communication of spirit almost, as the bird represents also.